Hello there, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me for yet another edition of the Creators Checkup. Every Friday, we go live here on God and Gigs. I'm your host and founder, Alan C. Paul. If you're watching for the first time, maybe you're jumping in on replay, which is totally understandable. Not everybody can join us right at 1 p.m. Eastern. So we know that a lot of you catch this a little later. Please go ahead and comment. We can always pop your comments here up on our little screen here. Let me find a couple of chats just so I can show you how it works. Let's get to the welcome. There we go. So you can see right here is where we pop up your comments during the live. And of course, I know if you're not here live, you might say, well, I don't get to see my comments. We do go back and check your comments in the regular like replay area in the comment section of YouTube. Also, same thing on LinkedIn. The reason why I love the fact that we go live on LinkedIn and on YouTube is because both of these places have replay links that don't go away, unlike, say, Facebook that erases it. And we are no longer really messing with Facebook, to be honest with you. We're there because we have to be there. And I treat Facebook kind of like more like a billboard, just social media ads, which hate to say it, but it's just not a place for community anymore. That's why we have our app for God and Gigs 360, and it's why we have YouTube, of course, and LinkedIn, places where there's a little more interaction between us. So, all that to say, if you're watching later, you are welcome to be a part of the conversation. Now, this is an exciting time for God and Gigs and for our community. So, I always try to start off with a little bit of news and notes just to make sure everybody's kind of together. It's kind of like our community forum, even though we have live events inside our community. There's also events that happen outside it. This is one of those that we do every single week because we don't want anybody to feel left out, even if you're not part of the membership, which I hope you will join the membership one time as I adjust my camera just a tiny bit. Looks like we're a little bit weird. I don't know why. It throws me off a tiny bit when things are not quite exactly even. And that's silly because that's kind of like my OCD talking. So let me go ahead and go to share. And let me show you what we're going to be talking about today. Here we are. Don't need the audio there. Let's make sure you guys can see the screen and me. All right. So today, what we're going to do, we'll go through is first talking about our January workshop recap, which I want to talk about a little more. We just got into February. Maybe you didn't know we had a January workshop, and this was super, super helpful, super, super amazing to talk about the Bible. We wanted to get our faith focus started first. Say that 5 times fast. So we started with a Bible workshop with Wendy Cooper. Wanted to share a little bit about that, then tell you what's going on the podcast. And then what's coming up in February, a super, super cool event that's coming up right around the corner if you're watching right now. Then vital signs, that's where we get into what we actually are kind of dealing with at a heart level, mind level, as faith focused, value centered Christian creators. And today we're talking about time because time seems to be a big issue, especially with life just coming at us at a mile a minute. Then we get into our lab work. That's usually one tool, one strategy that's working for me and my unique creator lifestyle. Or as I'm starting to kind of figure out anagrams for these kind of things to say it fast. So if you hear me say UCL, tell me if that makes any sense. UCL for me, unique creator lifestyle. Okay, so we'll see if that catches on, if that doesn't make any sense. But for my UCL, I am working on a couple of projects, and one tool that I found just changed the game for me. And I want to share it with you guys in case it helps you as you look for help with your creative projects. Because trust me, I thought I could do it alone, and I quickly figured out, no, I can't. I need help. Then we get into the consult, and consult is a fun like conversation. We got to cut off right at 2 p.m. today, maybe a little earlier because I have to run up to an event. Sound check is at 3:30 Eastern, and I got to get on the road. So we may end it a little early, but before that, we always like to have a fun little conversation. And today we're going to talk about pet peeves as a creator. I have one. Trust, it's going to be. You want to hang in for that one because I'm gonna. It's going to be an epic rant, just a little bit of an epic rant. Okay. And finally, subscribe to the 360 Creator Resource Center. Is always our prescription to go next. I want to shout out Wendy Coop. By the way, hold up. I want to do something real quick. Just this screen is bothering me. Forgive me. This is, again, one of my OCD things. We should have a very pretty background here, and I don't see it. And I want to see our background. There it is. So, see that? It makes a big difference. Just the aesthetic of the entire thing. I was like, where is our cool background? And I didn't see it, and it was throwing me off. So I just want to have, all of our stuff looking good for you. I don't want to be where it's, not really what we planned on in terms of the look and the feel and everything. Oh, look at that. We even have a little cool little thing there. So I'll stop messing with this. But that was needed. The the fact that I did not see our background was throwing me off, and I just looking at a black screen felt weird. All right. So, like I said, I wanted to shout out Wendy, who did our creator workshop for January, and that was super cool because she is like everything that we talk about. She's faith focused. She's a lover of God. She is immensely talented and gifted in so many ways. I mean, she's a fitness expert. She's website design. She's podcaster, all the things. And yet she made time to talk about and focus on Bible study as a former church staff intern. And she has her own YouTube about Bible study, helping Bible study for beginners. So this was like, I mean, when I tell you this is worth the cost of admission to join the Creator Resource Center, which is where now her workshop is housed, because she breaks down exactly how to do a very, very practical, but very focused and spiritually beneficial Bible study habit. And as I'm talking about time today, it's super, super important that we start with the word. Yes, we're unapologetically Christian here. So wherever your faith lies, these principles work for you. And this is one of the ones we want to start our year with. So shout out to Wendy. Thank you so much for kicking off our Creative Resource Center workshops. And I hope you'll join her. Again, we'll have one every month. We'll announce the next one very soon. But this is the one that we just finished in January. Now, speaking of workshops, this is not necessarily God and Gigs, but it is nearly 100% alignment and literally like just one of our deepest and best friends in creator life. And that is my dear friend, sister, and biz mentor extraordinaire, LaShonda Brown. Now, I've been a member of the Biz Advice, Bootstrap Biz Advice um, organization community. I think we started in 2022. I want to say, LaShonda. I'm not even sure. But look, like she is literally one of the reasons why I'm doing what I'm doing. Everything you see here is pretty much like almost like a carbon copy. I follow what the best people are doing, and she is one of the best. So when you look at our memberships, you look at our live streams, yes, we are copycats 100%. And I don't apologize for it because that's exactly how we are learning how to construct a powerful, beautiful, effective community. Now, she's decided to let me have a little bit of time to share with the Bootstrap Biz Advice community on podcast monetization. Let me be honest. I didn't want to talk about this. You know why? Because I don't like focusing on money. Have you noticed that? God and Gigs. We don't really focus just on finances. We focus on the faith. We focus on your values. We focus on how to be connected with your community. And then, by the way, money comes along with that. But that's exactly why I realized this is something that I can talk about because I have navigated monetizing and using that word monetization in the right way, not the wrong way. And I think if you come to this workshop, you're going to find out exactly why that is. So you might say, how do you join? Well, you need to go to LaShonda's YouTube page where you can join her Bootstrap Creators or just become a star student. You'll figure out what that means when you get there, but it is not a high cost. And you can join her membership and YouTube in order to attend this particular workshop. That's on Tuesday, February 10th, 6 p.m. Eastern, which is super cool. I'll be actually going live from my church's podcast studio where I produce two other shows, well, three now. So we're producing a bunch of shows there. So it's actually going to be kind of perfect that I won't be in my home studio where I produce my own podcast. I'll be where I produce three other ones and help with a team and that kind of like where we're figuring out monetizations and sponsorships and everything in a whole different realm. And I can also talk about doing it as a solo podcaster. So I'm super excited about that. Once again, I don't have the link right this second to pop over there, but LaShonda is there. Ah, ha, ha, look at that. She's hanging out right now. She says, you know it is. And she says, let's see, I'll be fine. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm honestly, like I said, one of the reasons that I wanted to be very, very authentic was and the same myth I'm going to talk about is you have to have hundreds of thousands of followers and you got to be making millions of dollars per episode. Like that was the same myth that I fell into when you asked me to do this. And so it's hilarious that I'm going to have to talk myself off the same ledge that many other people struggle with when it comes to podcast monetization. But the more I thought about it, the more I realized There are some unique ways that I have made a living doing this that some people miss because they get so caught up in the myth of, oh, I have to have 100,000 downloads per episode to monetize. And we saw even in during your live stream that some people still think that some small creators think they have to have 100,000 downloads to do this, and I've proven that you don't, and there's amazing ways to do it without having to have a large channel. So we're going to talk about that. Super excited, and thank you. Oh, and yeah, please put your YouTube membership, whatever the, I think it's join or become a member. I know there's a shorter URL to join. So if you can put that in the comments, Lashonda, that would be amazing. So that way people can jump right to it. Because I just realized I don't have the I didn't have it typed up right away. And I want to make sure that the URL is correct. All right. What's new on the podcast? All right. This is a surprise. Talk about podcasting and monetization and things that I have kind of like, said, I don't really want to go this direction. But now I'm realizing there's some interest here. Lately on the podcast, we released a clip of our live stream that we just did last week on why Christian artists sometimes don't want to be labeled Christian artists. We talked about Andy Mineo here, who's if y'all heard the phrase "I'm coming in hot," that's Andy Mineo. Okay, so he is a Christian. I'll say it right now. He is a Christian who is a rapper who also talks about why he doesn't want to be called a Christian artist, at least in the labeling of his music. And he shares that in the last episode. It's episode 372. If you're watching on YouTube, all you got to do is bounce back a couple of videos. You'll see it's right there. You can also go to episode 372, godandgigs.com/372 to watch this one. This one is popping off on YouTube. I'll be honest with you. It's not my normal thing to have a lot of podcast downloads in the first 24 hours. This one shot up immediately, and that means people are interested. Yes, I clipped him. Yes, I reacted, which I know reaction videos are usually very good, and I don't like doing them because I don't like to do clickbait. But let's be honest, this one was right in our line of fire. I had to talk about it because it talks about labeling. God and Gigs is all about not allowing the label to define us. And that's what Andy Mineo was talking about too. So go check that out, godandgigs.com/372, or just go to godandgigs.com/podcast. That will get you there either way. All right. I always want to give a quick shout out to the YouVersion plans that we have up. I'm actually going to be doing a Bible study with my church using these plans. And I was very, very, very almost nervous about, once again, kind of like, oh, I don't know if I can make a series out of this. But now I realize this is essentially the creator series. And I may decide later to combine these all into a study that we'll do in God and Gigs. But I'm going to try this out with a small group in my church. If you would like to do this as a small group with other creators, let me know. Because the curriculum that I'll design for this particular group, I could share with you if you want to do a series of Bible studies on the creators, authority, craft, timing, the battle, and the legacy. I'm highly, highly interested to seeing whether this works as a curriculum. So this is where I need your feedback. If you would think about, hey, you know what? I have some Christian creators that I want to like just study with. I want to like kind of go. I already have Your Art God's Heart, which is our 21-day devotional for creatives. We already have that. Okay, I'll grab that real quick. I have a copy of it right here. Wait, I want to drop all this stuff on this messy desk that you guys can't see. So I already have the Your Art God's Heart. Okay, so this is the 21-day devotional, but you may want to do a different kind of study using the YouVersion devotional plans. One of them is 3 days, the rest of them are 5 days. So if you're interested in that, let me know in the comments. I am already designing a curriculum for this. Okay. So that might be something that's super cool. You can find all that at godandgigs.com/uversion, or just look it up on your app. Let me make sure I can find real quick. Oh, wait. Where am I going? I always get lost here. Still getting used to still getting used to this app. There it is. godandgigs.com/uversion. Okay. So you can check that out there. All right. Always want to welcome our creators. Speaking of the people who are watching right now, some of you are watching on replay, but thank you for being a part of this. I think Lashana, you should have your picture up here. I got to change this picture out. But we've been praying for some of these folks. I see Precious up there. Precious praying for you as you have continued to deal with the loss of your grandmother. We see Charmaine in there. Thankful for her. She's been doing amazing. Simony, thank you so much. And yeah, for you guys for encouraging me to share my music, which I don't like to share a lot. because I just feel like it feels weird that I'm being self promotional and I'm still trying to struggle with the same thing I tell you guys to share your stuff, and then I don't. So they encourage me to share my stuff inside the community. That's what the community is for. Non spam. You get to talk about yourself. You get to share what you're doing. You get to share like we did just in the Bootstrap Biz Advice just a couple of hours ago. We share our links. We share what we're doing. We get together and we help each other grow as creators who want to become who God created us to be. Speaking of, Ray Robinson, welcome. I don't know if you got to see our welcome last week. So I want to make sure if you see this one that you know we appreciate you joining. Drummer, an amazing community member down here in South Florida. He was a personal invite. I just said, hey, you want to be around more people like us? Well, you want to join God Against 360? He took me up on the offer. So we love having Ray in there. And I would love to add your name to this list of creators who are growing, who are inspiring each other, and who are not doing life alone and their UCLs, unique creator lifestyles. If you want to join us, there's two ways to do that. Once again, using a very, very, very familiar model to my Bootstrap fam, same idea. Creator Resource Center is where you can join all of the different, you'll get access to all the different YouTube and our workshops that we do. And then if you want live coaching, you go to our Gold Mastermind membership. And that's where we do the live coaching as well, at least twice a month. We get together and everybody can get together. And you can join both of those or one of those, pick yours, at godandgeeks.com/membership. Or you can actually use even shorter, godandgeeks.com/app, APP. Okay. So that is our news and notes. I always try to jump through that as quickly as possible. So let me quickly jump out of this and let's stop the share because I'm learning how to use this more effectively, hopefully. And we're going to jump into our vital signs. Now, as I mentioned, the vital signs is the section where we talk about something that's going on in our creator resource. Sorry, and not just a community, in anyone's creative lifestyle. And let me pull that down real quick. That's why I'm glad I paused. There we go. Get rid of that. There we go. All right. Now I think we are ready. And so if you are joining us right now, this is where I would love to see your comments on this thought process. Again, if you're watching on replay, same thing. We're going to be sharing, and I might go without stopping because I like to kind of clip this part for our podcast, possibly. But please put your comments in, and we'll respond to them as soon as we get through this section. All right. Time is something none of us seem to have enough of. And if you feel like that, if you feel like time is absolutely getting away from you, well, it makes sense. We are at a place where so many people are struggling to have enough time to work on their side projects, to handle all the stress and the news that's coming at them. So now they're trying to respond to like current events. So that takes time. Taking time just for the lifestyle that you're trying to create, paying bills. Let's just be honest. Like everything feels like there's more and more pressure on us. And all of this in the midst of in the midst of trying to actually enjoy a creative lifestyle. Like we just talked about, it is very, very hard to see yourself as a creator designing a unique creator lifestyle while all of the other struggles of life seem to be higher priorities. It seems to be that for you to spend time working on a podcast, working on your YouTube channel, working on a song, these things can feel almost like they are insignificant. And it's weird to say that as a creator who literally lives their life making things, making music. As I mentioned, I'm getting ready to go to a performance even as I record. So, the back of my mind, I'm working on the set list while I'm recording this, making sure that I have my music ready. All of the components of the creator lifestyle have certain priorities that I have to do in order just to make this work. And in the meantime, life never stops. And so, this question of vital signs, why you never feel like you have time to create, is a honest question. And it comes from our 360 members, by the way, who I asked for February, what's the biggest struggle you're dealing with? And 3 out of 4, I would say, 75% said something about time management, something about how to manage all of the stress and the pressure of doing things and getting to all the things. And it's a time, um, I'm sorry, not for the pun, but it's basically a pun. This is a time honored struggle, right? This is something that none of us have not heard before. So let's talk a little bit about that. Why do you feel like you never have time? Why do you feel like it's actually almost just a running background script in your mind that I don't have enough time to do all the things? Is that normal? Is it just something you have to get used to? Or is this something you should be able to overcome? Now, I'm going to make frequent reference in this particular segment to the book Redeeming Your Time by Jordan Rayner. We've had Jordan Rayner on our podcast twice. Both times he was amazing. One time he did come on to talk about his book, Redeeming Your Time. The first time he talked about Master of One. Basically, everything Jordan Rayner writes, I'm going to make sure I recommend inside the God and Gigs community. Charmaine and other people inside the membership know that he is kind of like our guru when it comes to anything productivity connecting with the Bible and work. So his comments in his book, which is right behind me, by the way, the yellow one, talking about Jesus being the most productive and the most effective user of time because he was the author of time. And yet he had to work for 30 years. No one even knew he was the Messiah, right? And then 3 years he had to accomplish everything he had to accomplish before he ascends, before the crucifixion, resurrection, goes back to heaven, the whole story. Of course, you all know this story, but we don't think about the fact that he had 3 years to accomplish it all. And in those 3 years, John talks about the fact that there was not enough books to write everything that Jesus did. John literally says that as the last verse of the Bible, of the Gospel of John. He says there aren't enough books to write what Jesus did. There's not enough space in the world, right? He's using figurative language to basically say we couldn't keep up. We couldn't keep up with everything Jesus was doing. And yet, here he is as the savior of the world, making sure he had time to take care of family issues, making sure he had time to take care of his disciples. Nothing was left undone when Jesus says 3 years. We, of course, feel we don't have Jesus's abilities. We don't have Jesus's ability to walk on water or turn water into wine. But notice, none of his miracles gave him more time. Have you ever thought about that? If Jesus, being the Son of God, could simply say, hey, I need another 2 hours. Let me just kind of like freeze time for a second. Let me make everybody slow down, kind of like in the movies. You know how everybody is that slow, those superpower guys that can kind of go super fast and everyone's moving in slow motion around them. And they're like, oh, let me just do all this stuff. You do understand that Jesus had technically the power to give himself more time. And yet, he did what was most important, always never rushing, never in haste, but also never wasting any time. And so this is why I'm going back to Jesus's example as I talk about us creators. Why do we feel like we never have enough time? And I got this from a coach. So I'm stealing this from another coach, but I want to share it with you because it's totally focuses on why creators have this internal feeling of we don't have enough time. He says it like this: you don't run out of time, you run out of attention. Let me say it again because, like I said, this is not my phrase, but this is helping me in understanding why I feel like I never have enough time. He says, we never run out of time, we run out of attention. So the focus problem is not one of I need to get better time management. The question is, creators, can we manage our attention better? Is our attention to what is important so well honed that we do not sense any kind of lagging? Oh my gosh, I didn't get to blank. I didn't get to blank. I didn't get to blank. Because that is why you don't feel like you have enough time. It is the nagging sensation that there is something left undone, something that is important that is left undone. Let me tell you honestly, right now, I am not thinking about some things that obviously probably should be done, but haven't gotten done. I am not thinking about the dishes right now in terms of a priority and things I should get done. Now, maybe when I go downstairs, perhaps that will become a higher priority and I'll realize that my wife wanted me to do the dishes, but it is not in my mindset. It is not stressing me out. It is not creating another focal point of attention that requires me to then say, oh my gosh, I need to rush this because I had to do this. The prioritization, understanding of what your attention is on, and realizing that that is the key thing that you should be paying attention to and not the other things is what will release you from the pressure and the feeling that I don't have enough time. Creators, why is this important to us? Because now, if you have the ability to turn off those other things and say, what I'm doing right now deserves my full attention, you have now given yourself the peace and the freedom to feel, hey, whether or not I get to these other things, you probably have heard me say this. You may have seen this. This is also mentioned in Jordan Rayner's book. Many other time gurus may have mentioned this, that the word priority is not actually plural. Priority means one, right? The top means the top thing. Nothing else matters at that moment. Jesus was the master of priority. He said in a verse, I must do the works of him that sent me, period. My meat is to do that work. He was ultra focused on the one priority that he had at every moment. So he never felt rushed because there was no question of what needed to be done at that time. So, how does this apply to you and I? How can we get into a place where we realize the creative work we are doing, the creator work, whenever it kind of feels like it's running up against responsibilities, obligations, things like that? Where do we get to the place where we realize that what we're working on as creators is the number one priority? It is what we are called to do, is what we are supposed to do. There is no other thing at this moment that deserves my time more. Once you get to that point, and again, I'm not saying this is easy, I'm saying this is why we feel this way. Once you get to that point, the pressure and the feeling that you have not accomplished what you're supposed to accomplish dies away. This is why we have to work in community to help us feel more comfortable about what we are spending time on. To realize that it's not a waste of time to spend 10 minutes on that YouTube channel to make sure that it is the channel art is good, because you're serving a community and that community will be more likely to find you and you know exactly why your why is so important in that case. I hope this is making sense because this is helping me. I'm in the middle of working with my music career, trying to get a podcast or two or three to continue to grow. And of course, I have my family and the obligations and the things of finances and money and all the stuff that we all have. All of us are dealing with life. But I have to come to the place where my attention at that particular moment is focused on what I'm called to do and what will make the biggest impact on my life, and not letting the other little rocks and little things, squirrels in my mind, take me away from that one specific thing so that my time management does not become actually my lack of attention management. So I hope that helped. That was just my little moment to kind of share why I feel these things happen to us. And if you have any comments, I would love to see them because this is where we can share how to grow as creators. That was our vital signs. All right. I am super, super happy once again that we can do this together. I love the fact that we do have some people viewing right now. And again, if you are watching on replay, feel free to jump in. We will jump your comments up here. Okay. All right. But I want to jump ahead to something else and get into our lab work. So let's get to our lab work. Let me find once again, where's my stinger? And we'll jump into that. All right, let's jump into lab work. And the reason why I love this section is because this is always about something that's going on right this second. Right this second, we're dealing with how do I get help? We just talked about time management. So, anybody else in here, this is interactive. Anybody else in here need some help because you're so overwhelmed with so many things to do, one of which might be your work, your creator work, your time, even at like your actual 9 to 5 job. Because I've seen that 90% of us in God and Gigs community are not just full-time creators. We are also doing a 9 to 5 or something like that, right? So some of you are still struggling with, "Oh, I need help with like just getting my work done in my office and getting somebody who can quickly pick this up and pick up the ball and do this because I can't do it all." If that's you, I want to share. My favorite tool right now, I want you to stay tuned for this one because I am not getting paid for this. I am not an affiliate of this tool. So as soon as you hear this, you might say, oh my gosh, of course he's sharing it. Well, I do share affiliate tools because I am unashamedly trying to support people who are doing good jobs creating software for other creators like us. But I also don't want you to think that I only recommend things that I'm being paid or getting a commission for. This one I have applied, but I have not gotten anything in terms of monetary value back for this. So I'm really, really looking forward to seeing what you guys think of this tool. So, first of all, if you are still, like many of us, a solo entrepreneur, you might think it doesn't make any sense for me to spend any time trying to write down how I do things. I'm just going to continue to do things. I got to get this particular thumbnail done this way. I so how I do my email address. This is how I do my email newsletters. Like you have a certain process. All of us have a process, whether we like it or not. Some people say, I'm just a creator. I don't have any system. You have a system, even if your system is no system. Your system is get up and just follow the wind. That's your system. It's still a system. It's a process of which you follow to do your thing. So all of us have a system or a process, even if that is a unstructured process. I was a homeschooler for many years. And so as a homeschooler, there are some people who are unschooling. That is a process. Their process is unschooling. Follow the interest of the child. I did interest-based learning unit studies with our children for a little while. That was a process we decided to follow where we based it on the child's interest and then we created a curriculum around my child's interest. So there's always a workflow. And again, for creators, we sometimes don't like to think about this. We don't like to think about I do A, then I do B, then I do C, then I do D. Like we don't like thinking like that oftentimes, but it is essentially what we all have. We all have workflows. We all have things that we do in a certain way. Now, why is that important? Because now we got to talk about how to get help when we need to do these types of things. Okay. When you need help, you got to tell somebody how to do it. What's your workflow? And the reason why I really, really think this is an important conversation is because so many of us may at this point be like, well, I don't have anybody. But what happens when you do? This is my story. I'll tell you real quick. So it's 10-second testimony. Doing garden gigs totally by myself. Then realize, hey, you know what? Like, I really, really don't have time to like put all these thumbnails and stuff together. I am not a Canva expert. Why am I trying to make Canva, YouTube, and thumbnails, right? Yeah, YouTube thumbnails and Canva. Why? Why am I doing this? Anybody else get to that point? They're like, okay, like this is just not work. This is crazy for me to try to do all the things. If that is you, please put a me in the comments because this will help me feel like I'm not alone, okay? Or a me in the chat. So if you got to that point and you're like, okay, I just cannot do this, then the next thing you're like, okay, who is going to help me? Who am I going to get? And some of us go Fiverr, some of us go to Upwork, some of us go to your friend next door, some of us go to the college student who has done this forever and like, please, can you please pick this up? So either way, one way or the other, you're looking for somebody to help you to take something off your plate to delegate because you just hit that wall as a solopreneur, solo creator. And that's why I'm talking to all of us because I was there where I didn't think I was going to get help until I needed it and I had to get help. The same thing happened inside my production as a podcast producer over at Metro Life. I had to put a team together. I had never put a team together before. And all of a sudden it's like, oh, we need XYZ to do XYZ. And I was like, oh, how the heck do I tell them? Love this. Thank you for pointing that out. Her joyful spark. And yes, see, I'm glad I'm not alone. So you hit that moment, and then you're like, okay, if I am going to bring on help, what do I tell them? How in the heck do I get them to know what I'm doing? So you may have heard this before, but if you have, please don't, judge me because I'm going to start from the basics because that's where I had to start. There has to be some type of job description, work process, workflow, standard operating procedures. These are all phrases that mean the same thing. How do you do this task? How do you handle this? So some of us, as I mentioned, have to reach out to a VA, and the VA helps us do this. And they're like, you have to have the exact same questions. What do you want me to do? How do you want me to do it? And so many of us solopreneurs, we struggle because we've never asked that question, but of ourselves, we never even wrote it down. So here's where I believe this particular tool that I don't know if you know about yet, but is like my favorite tool. And by the way, free 99 has been like my lifesaver. And it's called, someone give me a drum roll, emoji. Somebody give me that. It's called Scribe, Scribe. Now, it's not scribe.com. You got to go to scribehow.com. And I'm actually going to put that in the comments, okay, so you guys can see. And I'm going to do, let me see. I was not even planning to do screen share with this. So forgive me if I screw up to do screen share. I'm going to try to get into the back end and give you a tiny little look of why Scribe Share is like so cool. There are other tools that do this, by the way, but this is the one that I am enjoying the most. And it's helping me immensely. Basically, what it does is that it will record your screen so that you can share things that you are doing. You guys probably heard of the screen share recorders, right? You do the video and it creates in it, or you. Now, here's the difference with Scribe, which I don't think I've seen anybody else do. Oh, actually, it is scribe.com. They must have bought it. That's awesome. I thought it was scribehow.com. I saw that pop up. But scribe.com is okay. So here, I think I'm in my personal account. So let me do share. So it is a scribe.com. Then we'll see if scribe how. It might just be scribe.com. So forgive me if that was because I saw scribe how, but I think that may have been an old one that they popped up. Let's see here. Yep. Right. So that's scribed. That's the .how. I want to do this one. There we go. I think that's the one that's going to work. Okay. Anyway, so let me get to the back of my back end here and show you guys why I love this so much. So hopefully you guys are seeing this. And as you're looking here, let me make it bigger so you can see. There are a bunch of workflows and apps that I have recorded how to do this for somebody, anybody who wants to follow through with a certain thing. Okay, so if someone wants to know how I import episodes into Cast Magic, how I upload videos in Visual AI, how I change the banners on Mighty Network Spaces, how I create and sell digital products, how I do that. It's just actually all of my workflows that I've written, and not written, by the way. That's the big thing. I don't have to write these down. It simply records it and then records the steps. So maybe if I can do a live one, I did not plan to do let's see here. This is the one I just did, but let's see what I did here. So you can kind of see, make sure I'm bouncing around here. Oh, I got to share a different screen. So let me switch this. Hold up. Switch to, because I switched, I switched tabs. So tell me if you can see this now, see the right tab. So you see where it says navigate to? This is where I was trying to show someone how to build up the things in Kit. It was one of my VAs. But each time I went to a certain place inside Kit, this actually made it for me. It just recorded and then actually created that particular step. And then on the next step, I said out loud, I did this recording. We're going to set up a workshop besides Skit. It transcribed it and then immediately created the link. So every time I step to another thing, I cannot seem to get this thing to move. I'm sorry. I'm all over the place. Goodness. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to see. I got like 3 tabs open and I cannot find where I'm open and it's not moving. Let me know if you see it moving. Yeah, I'm all over the place right now. It is jumping into all kinds of different places. But I think I see it. Okay. So yeah, I think I see it moving now. So you see where each step is moving to a different section. That was all simply me clicking on certain things. So you see right there, you see where that circle is? It records where I clicked and then it records what to do next. So each time there was a step made, I was able, there we go. Each time there was a step made, I was able to show, hey, click this. It recorded it. Click this. Then go to new product and click this and then do this. And so it basically created this workflow immediately, easily, me just following around and recording the clicks. Now, that's all super cool, right? But let me show you why. Again, this is kind of like where I'm geeking out a little. Actually, I should have stayed there. And I want to show you why I think they just changed the game on this. I did not know that not only could I do it by steps, I could also, let me see if it does it. Please do it, because I'll be so excited. I'll be so mad if it doesn't do it. So hit share. And then I'm going to look at 3 different ways that I could share this. I could viewing mode, scroll, which is what you just looked at. But it also can create a movie. This is what I was like, whoa, wait. Are you guys seeing this? So you can create a movie. And then I copy a movie link. I'm going to stay right here so I don't lose this tab. And now it has created.
Navigate to this link.
I'm not sure you can hear it. Yeah.
We're going to set up a workshop inside
and now
a
it
kit,
created
so
a
we will
movie
log in.
of my screen share and a movie of my steps. And it's voiceover by AI. So now just by clicking
Then we will
around
click on Earn.
my page and just saying, hey, here's where I want to go next. Here's where you go next. Here's how you do this. Here's that. Now this
And
thing
products.
has created a movie. I mean, I'm not touching anything. It's
go to new
it's a screen
product.
share, but notice how it's jumping to each next section. So I don't have to like just record
Now
a
we'll have a
long
name.
video. You know how like you record these videos on the screen and you're like trying to like not do extra moves because you feel like
Then
it has to
click
be
product.
one take and all this editing and you have to do that to make sure that it goes to the next thing. Talk about
Click
saving
next.
time. The fact that now I can just send them a movie that's automatically voiced over.
Next, fill in the price.
And
Normally
shows them
$10
exactly
for our
what to
monthly
do. Like I'm
workshops.
just watching this for the first time, y'all. I've never even
Click
this.
next.
It created this, and the voiceover is all happening via AI. Again, this is where I think AI is
Click
amazing
this radio
because
button.
it actually
Something
does the work
else.
for you that you've already done and just splices it up and makes it so much
Click
more
next.
clean. And if I was a VA, if I was someone helping me, I was like, oh, I just watched this
That's the
5-minute
beginning.
movie.
Tap create product.
And I have a immediate, okay, so I think you guys get the idea.
Product.
This
Here
was
we'll
like
add.
I said, where I felt like I have to share this because if you are not already hiring someone, bringing somebody on, you might say to yourself, okay, well, I don't really need this. You will. You will need something like Scribe. You will need to walk this out. Our friends from Bootstrap as well. They're also in the God Geeks 360. Trisha Harrison. We've had Leon Lila Kaba come on and do a workshop with us about working with VA. She's an amazing VA instructor. So many people have come into God and Gigs and they have been very, very clear. Like you will need to have your workflows figured out so you can bring on help with anything that you're doing as a solo creator. This is where I believe if you step in now and start creating these workflows, you're going to find yourself so much less stressed when you actually do bring on somebody. So my advice, if you are not already using a device like this, try out Scribe. If you are already, thinking like, okay, I'm doing this by myself, but like, how do I do this? Start cataloging these things now. If you catalog them now, when you bring on somebody, you will not have to go through all the stress like I did, wondering how to explain all the different things I was doing as a solo creator. Okay. Love that you love that. I appreciate you guys. Okay, let's move on because I have to again be right on time to get out of here. This is going to be fun. So if you're watching live or if you're watching on replay, this will be a fun place for you guys to comment. So let's jump into our consult. All right, so this is going to be some fun. Let's just be honest. All of us have pet peeves. All of us have things that bother us that you just want to like throw something at the wall, right? Anybody else? Like it's not a huge deal, but you're like, why? Why? And as a creator, I am sure I'm not the only person that has one of these pet peeves. So in the comments, think about the one thing that grinds your gears when it comes to being a creator. It could be a social media thing. It can be a working with other creators thing. Don't say names. Let's be nice. But it can be certain like kinds of creators that you have to work with, certain businesses that you won't name, but you'll say like the when they do this, it drives me insane. I mean, let's be honest. I am inside a church environment. So there are little churchy things that I could bring up that are just like the way that like certain musicians do things, the way that, and I'm being very honest, I do these things too. So someone's probably making a pet peeve video about me right now. I am sure I am somebody's pet peeve, started with my wife and then lots of other people. So this is where you get to share. But like I mentioned in the beginning, I do have a epic rant prepared for my pet peeve as a creator. And I already see some comments. This might be a very juicy section in the comments. All right. So yeah, we already got one. We already got one vote that I will definitely assign on to as well. So yeah, I'm gonna wait for a couple more, then we're gonna go rapid fire. Okay. So I'll do my rant and then we'll see who else has one of your like pet peeves. Like, why are we still dealing with this in 2026 in the year of our Lord 2026? Okay, so I think I'm gonna leave it like this because I also like my. I'm not a cat person, but I think this is a perfect picture for this issue. Okay, so my pet peeve as a creator, and this is very specific to podcasting, right? It's very specific to just email in general, just like because it might sound like a comment that has to do with just spam, but it kind of goes beyond that. So I am basically my pet peeve is the and Lashonda, you should know this because it's basically a whole segment you do on the unsolicited pitch, specifically in my case, the podcasters that has nothing to do with your show, that is clearly AI generated. We can go to like the spammy podcaster promoter things. That's also a pet peeve, but I'm specifically talking about the plethora of podcast promoters now that are just sending out guest pitches to just random podcasts. They're scraping. This is the diabolical part. They're scraping some of our emails off of our podcast. So this is something, again, I can talk to different podcasters, but emails, writers, newsletters, everyone needs to be aware of this. Like anywhere you put your email publicly, like it will be scraped and people will just ignore the whole spam laws and they'll just take your email and start emailing you, right? But specifically podcast guests who will then email you. And let's say, for example, I have a show that I produce that has four ladies that are producing a 5-minute daily devotional. Sometimes they bring their husbands on, but there's no interview. There's no interview. There's just 5 minutes, Bible study, devotional, you know, music out. That's it. Outro. That's it. 7 minutes tops. The fact that I get pitches to have guests on a 5-minute devotional podcast that doesn't have guests. I know I can just delete it. I know I'm a member, by the way, of Podmatch, where I try to avoid this entirely. Alex Sanfilippo is the leader of Podmatch. He's been on the podcast as well, God and Gig Show, and he has created an entire system to avoid these kind of like annoying pitches from people who have never seen the podcast, who are just using AI to pretend to be on the podcast or interested in the podcast. So he did at Podmatch, where it's basically a LinkedIn for podcasters. I say LinkedIn / eHarmony. Some of us who remember eHarmony, right? Not Tinder, none of that craziness. Okay, but eHarmony plus LinkedIn, professionalizing pitching, professionalizing podcast pitching. That is why I hang out in Podmatch. That's why I'm actually a member of the Podmatch network now, because the emails are just insane. And I'm like, I'm trying to find the right kind of filter where it just sends them straight to Podmatch. Hey, go join Podmatch and maybe I'll listen to you. But other than that, I'm not reading your pitch. I don't have enough time and I'm trying to clean up my email using SaneBox and everything. So I'm trying to get to the point where this is not an issue. And yet it keeps coming back and wasting my time because I still end up opening the email. Why? I know it's a pitch. Why am I opening the email? And then I kick myself for opening the email, realizing they've never read the show. And I should just stay on Podmatch for everything. By the way, godandgeeks.com/podmatch if you want to check that out. Forgot that. Let me always forget to share the links. All right. So please, 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 if you're dealing with this as well, join Podmatch, godandgeeks.com/podmatch. and then ignore all these crazy podcast pitches. And maybe you're not doing podcasts, maybe it's YouTube, whatever the pitches are, just find a system, see workflow, find a system that will help you avoid the pitches because it is driving me insane. And it's just, again, something that's technically not a big deal. Just put it to spam, but it's just, I find myself just wanting to tear what little hair I have left on my chin out. All right. So Lashonda says for her pet peeve, constant app updates. I'm looking at you, Instagram. I would highly agree with this one. Highly agree. And I would just say between Instagram, who else? Who else is doing this? Facebook cloud still Meta, right? Meta overall. Just the way that they keep trying to, I'm okay with apps trying to improve. I'm okay with apps that say, "Hey, we've been doing the same thing." Riverside's a great example of this. I'm using Riverside now because they have built up and worked on things and some things weren't working before and I didn't like the layout and then they changed it again. It's like, "Oh, I like this better." I have no problem with apps trying to get better. I think Lashonda, you're talking about the app updates that mean nothing. Like, why did you move this button? It doesn't make any sense. Why did you add 1,000 more features? Am I right? I think I'm on the ball because I know we've talked, so I know what grinds your gears. That's one of them. Like, why are we moving things just to move them? There's no particular issue other than just, somebody felt like changing up the UI. Um, Annoying, totally annoying. So maybe there's another one that's going to come up in the comments. I'm going to watch the comments tonight and then throughout the day. If you guys respond to this later, I want to see what your pet peeves are. I'm also going to ask this in the 360 membership. We do polls like this all the time in the 360 membership. This should be fun. This should be like get some steam, let some steam out. If there's something that like you're like, okay, I could do less of this. Okay, she says, "Yep, definitely interface changes." Got it. Yep. So, what can we do about that? Obviously, nothing. It's a pet peeve. It's a struggle. Like just talked about this in the time thing. Don't spend your attention on the things that you can't control as much as you can. But let's just be honest, some things they're just going to bother you. All right. So I think we are just about at the end. As I mentioned, I got to end it right on time. So I'm not going to do the stinger this time. I'm just going to jump right into our prescriptions. And of course, if you're watching this for the first time, you may not be aware, but I mentioned it at the beginning that we have our Creator Resource Center. This is where we keep all of our workshops. And let me quickly just show you because I am learning again how to be a lot more clear about what we're actually offering. I don't want to just talk about it, I want to show you what we're talking about. So, inside the Creator Resource Center, inside our app, hopefully, you guys are seeing this. I know Lashonda is in here at the very bottom. She came on. Well, I actually included our last couple of talks of podcasting inside the Creator Resource Center. So you can see that that's part of what you get to have access to, as well as expert trainings on how to save 5 hours a week by hiring your first VA. I just talked about that. Passion to Profit, creative gifts into sustainable income with our friend Christian Brim. There is Trisha talking about thinking like a business but creating like an artist. And our friend Lex, look at her from Inbox to Income, how to make money with paid newsletters. Shayna Davis, this one, oh my gosh, I need to follow up with her on how to grow your influence and income as a lucrative corporate clients. She's the master of just turning anything into a business opportunity. To start thinking of yourself as a small creator and leverage with big brands, value for value, all the stuff that I have been sharing over the last 2 or 3 years with some amazing creators is still here. You get access to that, and of course, to our membership where we have our forum, which is super cool. Like I was just telling, our friends told me they forced me to share my music. So I'm sharing my own things. I will be at a jazz performance next year. That picture is like 10 years old, but I'm still using it. And then the rest of our friends who are sharing what they're dealing with, what they're doing. Oh, there's Charmin Michelle talking about her Nina Simone show, which I am also doing my own Nina Simone show, which is super cool. Over here, we are in our Creator Resource Center and the very, very, very important prayer chat, which I love. This is probably my most the part I love most about our community is the prayer chat. Just the fact that like we can like talk about when things are rough and we have a place to go. This is something that's kind of like a differentiator. You're not going to find other memberships that have a prayer chat, simply because most memberships that deal with just faith, they deal with just faith. And most memberships that talk about creativity, they just talk about creativity. We talk about both. So if you want to join that, simple, simple. Just go to godandgigs.com/CRC. You can also find it godandgigs.com/membership. And it's just, it's super, super easy for you to come up and join us, be one of the new members that we can welcome. But you can just go to godandgigs.com/membership if you want to join. All right. I think I am finishing up. We're closing up because I had to finish right on time to get ready for our next event that I'll be doing. So, just to kind of like recap, remember that you can join us in our workshop with LaShonda, who is hanging out with us all live stream long. Thank you so much, LaShonda, for giving us your time. Some of you who are watching our replay, maybe you didn't get a chance to see all of it. Obviously, go all the way back, kind of see all of our announcements that we talked about, things that we're doing that are coming up in February. I have not yet got our resource center workshop for February. I am looking at the time management and I'm thinking about, let me know if you think about this, if you like this. I'm really thinking about bringing back a consistent creator challenge. We're just redoing it. If you don't know what I'm talking about, it was our most popular challenge. I am thinking about doing it in terms of time management. I just need to add a layer to it so that there is a time management like goal. Maybe you want to shave an hour off every week. Maybe you want to get 2 hours back. Maybe you want to make sure that you are consistently spending 30 minutes in creative work a day. I'm not sure what that payoff will be because it was really hard to kind of figure out with that challenge, consistent creator challenge, what did consistent mean? And so I think combining it with the time management desire that everybody had is a good idea. I just need to figure out how we measure success. So if you have an idea on how you would like to do that challenge, it's a 3-day challenge perhaps instead of a 5-day, so it won't take the entire month or the entire week. These are the kind of things I'm rolling around with, but of course February is pretty short, so I had to come up with it pretty fast to kind of finalize that. So yeah, let me know what you think about that. That will most likely be our challenge, our consistent creator challenge. I just haven't again scheduled it, but we'll definitely do it really soon because I don't want this month to run away. It's kind of appropriate that we do a time management workshop in the shortest month of the year. I kind of like that. So we have to get going on that. All right, my friends, I believe that is all. Thank you so much for joining us and being a part of our live stream, our creator checkup podcast coming up on Tuesday, episode 373, with an amazing young lady who is going to talk about how she created her entire fitness plus mental health platform after being almost lost in the yoga and the new age movement. She's got some incredible stories. She's going to talk about how she has found her niche, found her lane, following God into ministry. Meanwhile, starting as a creator and an actor and an improv. So she's incredible. I can't wait to hear from Dr. Laurette. That's coming up on Tuesday. And then, of course, Tuesday night, we'll have our workshop with LaShonda. So hope you guys will join us there. But that's all there is. There is no more. God bless you guys. Getting ready to go over to Belgrade to perform some Nina Simone shows, some Nina Simone songs. So pray for us as well as we get back into our music habit. God bless. Thank you so much for joining us. And until next time, continue to become the creator that you were created to be. We will see you next week.